This conference will now be recorded.
So in the last session, we have discussed about the action support. By using that action support, how can we implement the field dependencies, and how can we add some additional support to the existing controls so that they can invoke some controller action methods we have discussed in the last session. Okay. Now today we see the action function. We see the action function tag. What exactly is the action function? What is the use? And then we'll see the concept of action status. What is the use of this action status tag? Action status tag is a very simple tag just in order to show the progress of your application. In order to show the progress of your data loading or progress of your operation, we can use that action status. And then action region. In the implementation, action support and the action function, these two are a bit important. Okay. Action pool are very rare use case. Action reason nobody will use that. Okay. But we'll see some examples of this one so that we can understand what exactly this controls. So now we see the action function. So what exactly the action function? What is the use? How to implement this action function? And what are the various properties are available as part of this action function tag? How to use it, we'll see with an example also. And then how can we show the progress of your application at runtime? Okay, upon loading the data, upon performing the operation, that operation's progress we can represent, okay, with the help of some message also, with the help of some loading symbols also. Some images also, we can show by using the action status tag. How can we use the combination of this action function and status? Now let's see practically. Okay. For example, assume that I'm having a user interface which is used to search for some data. Okay, I'm having a search feature inside my applications. I have my application. This is my user interface. In my user interface, I'm having some search feature in order to search for some content. I'm having the text box. Enter the search text. I'm placing one text box control in order to enter some characters based on which the user wants to initiate the searching mechanism. I'm placing a button control also. I'm having the button control in order to initiate that search mechanism. Okay. So now here I'm having some search text box where the user can enter some characters based on which he would like to search for some content. Once the characters has been entered, then we can click on search button to initiate that search process. Here I'm placing some watermark inside my text box. Enter some lead name. That means the lead last name. Based on that last name characters of that lead record, we can able to search for some content from my lead object so that we can represent the data on my Visual Force page in the table or file. So I'm having the search text box where the user can enter the characters based on which he would like to initiate the search mechanism. So based on the characters, whatever the matching records has been collected from the database, to represent all those matching records, I would like to have a table. I'm having a table inside my user interface. Okay, I'm having a table. In this table, I would like to represent the records. Whatever the matching records have been collected from the database, those records I would like to represent inside my table or format. I want to show the lead record ID, first name and the last name, title of that lead person, company name and the status. All this information I want to represent in the table or format. Like the lead record ID, name of that lead record, and then I would like to specify the first name, and the last name of the lead person, title of that lead, and the company name of that lead, and then lead status. Lead status. So these are the results I would like to represent inside the table or format. So here I am having a separate page block. In this page block, I want to represent the records in the table or format. Okay. So here's my fetch functionality that I'm having inside my user interface, where the user can enter some characters inside this text box. Based on these characters, he can able to search for some content from a lead object. Okay. Now, for example, I'm entering few characters. I'm entering few characters like as this. Now, in order to initiate that search mechanism, what we need to do? Click on search. Okay, search button. There is a search button called as search. So that after typing some characters, the user has to click on that search button in order to initiate the search, so that whatever the matching records are available, we can collect the matching records and we can represent the records in the table. But now, upon searching the data, the people are feeling difficulty to click on the search button. Okay. People are clicking on, they're facing difficulty to click on the search button. So that's what they want to do is, after entering some characters inside the test, simply they will press enter. Okay, they would like to press enter. Even though when you press enter button, I want to do the same thing. It has to search. That means I no need to click on the search button manually through that mouse because I'm facing difficulty to use the mouse. Okay. So now in this case, I'm facing difficulty to use the mouse. So that I want to type the characters, so press the enter immediately. Then immediately it has to search the record. Those records I want to see in the table or file. What we can do in this case. That means what? After typing the characters, when you click on search button, also it has to do the same search mechanism. If you click on the enter button, also it has to do the same search mechanism. Okay. So now here, because depends upon the requirement, the people may click on button control, or the people may press simply the enter button. Okay, because pressing the enter button is easy. If it is a mouse, we have to go to the mouse, we have to use that mouse, we have to place the mouse pointer, click on that. It's very difficult to do that. But that some people are facing difficulty to click on the mouse on that search button, so that they would like to use enter buttons. So in this case, that means what? Whenever you're pressing the button control, I want to collect that code, the ASCII code of that character, button control. When you go to the enter button ASCII code is the team. Okay, 1-3. So the team will be the enter button ASCII code. You know that for every character inside the keyboard, there is a ASCII code. For the capital A, 65. Capital B, 66. Like that you will be having. For small a, 96. For small b, 97. Like that, for every key inside the keyboard, you will be having the ASCII code. For the enter button, we are having ASCII code as 13, 1-3. Okay. So now that means what? Whenever you are going to pressing some button control from your keyboard, I want to collect that character. I would like to collect the ASCII code of that character. If it is equals to the 13, then I want to initiate the search mechanism also. Okay, from the client side, the user is not initiating any such mechanism by click on the button control, because my button control is a server side control. Upon click on the button control, it is making a request to the server explicitly. But I don't want to do that whenever I'm going to press the enter button, immediately it has to do the request for me. So now here in this case, I would like to initiate that such a mechanism upon pressing that button control also based on the key. Only when you press the enter button, not when you press the other characters. Okay. Upon clicking on that, upon pressing the any other keys inside the keyboard, I don't want to initiate that. When you press the enter button, then only I would like to initiate that such a mechanism again. So in this case, there are multiple ways we are using. We are doing the same such a mechanism either by click on the button control or either by pressing the enter button also. In this case here, whenever if you want to initiate that, if you want to invoke that action control, that means if you want to invoke that control action method, okay, from the client side, we are using action function. With the help of that action function, we can initiate the controller action methods. Whatever the method that you have prepared inside your controller classes, those methods you can invoke with the help of JavaScript also. That means from the client side. From the client side also we can invoke that method with the help of action function. By using action function, we can invoke the controller action method, okay, from the client side, from the browser side. So without click on that any button control. Upon pressing some character, upon pressing any key, we can able to invoke some actions also automatically. That facility is available with the help of that action function. So now here in this case, how can we invoke those action functions? How can we invoke those controller methods by using this action function? We'll see practically here. Okay, now, next one. Suppose, for example, assume that yesterday we have discussed about one use case. Now, yesterday we have discussed about this use case. For this one, we have used the action support. Okay, action support. So by using this action support, what we did, we are giving some additional support to the checklist control so that it can able to invoke some actions. Okay, it can invoke some actions also. Then upon changing the selection of the checklist, whenever the checklist value selection has been changed, then immediately we can able to file some action with the help of action support. But basically, when coming to the checklist control, we don't have any such action property to invoke that action method by its own, so that we have given the additional ability to the checklist control by introducing that action support tab. With the help of the action support tab, we have given some additional support to the checklist control so that it can able to invoke some controller action methods based on some events. Okay, now, so in this case, what happened? Upon using the action support, for this control, we have to use the separate action support. For this one, we have to use separate action support. For this one, we have to use separate. For this one, we have to use separate. That means if you're having two controls, we need two action support tags. If you're having four controls, four action support tags. If you're having 10 controls, then 10 action supports. We need to use. But in this case, instead of using a separate action support, we can able to use one global function with the help of this action function itself. Action function will be giving the ability that we can able to make that function as global, that method can be accessible, that function can be accessible from any place, any control inside the Visual for Speech. Okay, we can able to make it as a global. For the entire page, any control can use that. Any control can use that. That's what we are doing. For example, when it comes to this one here, I would like to prepare one action function. Upon pressing the after entering some characters inside the text box, when I press the button, it can call that action function. When the user clicks on set button, then also it can able to call that action function. That means that both the controls can use that same function. There is a possibility. Suppose if it is an action support, what needs to be done? Action support has to get right within the tag itself. Okay, within the tag itself, we have to use action support. Like for example, assume that if I'm using this kind of input text box, at that time you will be having that input text box separate. We have to use input text. This is the starting, this is the end. Okay, input text. If you want to use an additional support, then we have to use that action support tag. Okay, we have to give the action support tag inside. For example, if you want to give this kind of action support for another control, like as a button control, so we have to specify command button. Here is the ending of the command button. If you want to give some additional support, then we can able to specify action support. That means what, for each and every control, we have to use a separate action support, but instead of doing this one, we can able to make with the help of that action function. We can define in the class level. That means in the page level, we can define an action function. We can define an action function in the global. That means here in the entire result first page, we can define an action function. We can give you a name also. Based on that name, we can able to call this action function from any control also whatever you want. From this text box also we can call this function. From the command button also we can call this function. The possibilities. That means here we can make it as global. So in the entire result first page, wherever you want to use. This is not specific to the control. This is common to all the controls available inside the result first page. Okay, the facility is available as part of action functions. Okay, now, so in this case, how can we use this action function, and then what are the various properties are available, which you will see practically. Okay, now let's make a note of this one. Action function tag. This tag is used to invoke the controller action methods from the client side. From the client side, that is through JavaScript. Through JavaScript also. With the help of JavaScript also, we can able to invoke this controller action methods by using this action function. Sometimes they will raise a question in entry point of view through JavaScript. If you want to call a method, then what we can do? We can use that action function. Along with that, we are having one more facilities available, that is called as remote action. Okay, we have one more feature called as remote action. We'll see that in the further classes as well. With the help of the remote action also, we can able to call the controller action methods, and then we can able to connect to the database also by using that remote action facilities. We can fetch the data, we can process inside our client side. Okay. That is based on the specific events or most events, we can invoke the controller action methods, from client side to perform the operations on the object records. To perform the operations on the object records. By using this class, we can define a reusable function. We can define a reusable function inside the Visual Force page to be used to give the additional ability. To be used to give the additional ability to invoke the actions from any control on the page. From any control on the page. That means the same action function tag can be accessible by any control. This is not specifically a control which is common to all the controls within the Visual Force page. Okay? That is, it is global to all the controls on the Visual Force page. It is global to all the controls on the Visual Force page. So any control can use this action function in order to invoke some controller methods to perform some operations. Now, So what are the various of properties are available as part of this action function tag? What properties are available? How can we use this properties? We'll see. The first property is name property. We can specify the action function name, action function name. We can give any name, whatever the name that you want, we can give. For example, I'm giving like a set lead records. You can give any name, whatever you want, but that name should be a single word, not multiple words. Okay, we can give any name. That means here just we can able to invoke this action function by using this name itself. Whenever you want, we can call this action function by using this name. Next thing. Upon calling this action function, then what action operations have to perform? Specify that method name. We have to specify the name of the method. Okay, we have to specify the name of the method which you would like to invoke upon calling this action function. Whenever you are calling this action function, what method you would like to invoke? You can specify the method name. The next one. Next one we can specify re-render. That means once the operation has been done, okay, which component you want me to refresh? Component ID to refresh. Component ID to refresh. Next. And along with that, there is a possibility that we can show the progress of your operation also. In order to show the progress of your operation, we can use a property called as status. We have to specify the action status component ID. Action status component ID. That means with the help of this action function, we can show the progress of your operation also. That means whenever you are performing some operations, okay, it will be showing some symbol to you, like as please wait, loading data, or sometimes it is displaying that loading symbols also. Okay. Now, for example, assume that when you go to your Salesforce instance, upon loading the data inside my object here, upon using this information, now let's see. So now currently I am able to see the first 10 records. First 10 records are available. How can you see the remaining 6 records available inside my object here? Next button. Once you click on next button, it will be showing a small loading symbol to you. Once you click on next button, loading symbol is getting visible. That means it is showing the progress of your operation. That means what it is doing internally. This kind of progress also we can show with the help of the status tag. In order to show that progress, we are using a control called as action status. Action status tag is used to display that status message to be get visible. Okay, it will be able to display the progress operation. Okay, whatever the operations we are performing, that operations of progress we will show in terms of the message also, in terms of that symbols also, we can represent by using some images, which are some loading symbols, we can represent. That possibility is available to you here. Okay, now. So now here in this case, with the help of the status tag, status property, we can able to display the action status component ID in order to represent that the status of your operation. Okay, now here make one more Python. By using this tag, we can show the progress of the current operation by using action status tag. By using action status tag. With the help of action status tag, we can able to show the progress of the current operation. So that define your own action status tag, and then we can show the status with the help of the status property.
Action support and action for the
AJAX, client side.
Is also
Okay, now the next one. Action status tag. Now, so now let's see the action status tag. So what is the use of this action status tag and what is the purpose? Now let's see. For example, whenever we are accessing some data from any of the applications, not only Salesforce, any other applications, whenever the data is getting loaded, it is showing some symbol to you, like as please wait, loading some data. It is showing that message because here application is progressing right now, so please wait for some time. Whenever you are using any mobile applications also, upon reserving some movie tickets, upon performing some bank transactions, upon reserving some travel tickets, it is showing some message like as a loading symbol to you. So now please wait for some time, transaction is in under process. Okay. So in this case, that means what here, if you are not showing any message, the people will get confused. The people will might be thought of the application is not working properly, application has been stopped. So they will click on some back button. When they click on back button, automatically transaction will be getting terminated abnormally. Suppose if the money has been deducted from your account, we can't get back that money again. We can't get the confirmation of the money deductions also. That is the problem. So that here, I want to show some indication to the user. So please wait for some time. The data is loading. Your operation is performing right now. Once the operation has been done, we can show some message because the records are ready. That means what? Upon performing the operation, we can show some message. Once the operation is done, we can show some message also. In this case, whenever you want to show some progress of your operation, upon performing the operation, we can show some progress. Once the operation is done, some different progress we can show. At that time, to represent the progress of your operations, we are using action status. This is only for to represent the status of your operation, what it is doing right now. Currently, it is processing your request or it is already done with your operation. To indicate the progress of your operation, we are using the action status tag. Okay. Upon performing some large operations, we can able to show the progress also. The facility is available with the help of action status tag. Then how can we use this action status tag? Okay, now let's see practically. In this case, what are the various properties are available as part of this action status tag? Now let's see practically in this case. Okay. Now make a note of this now. This tag is used to represent the current status of the operation. This tag is used to represent the current status of the operation. That is, we can represent the progress of the current operation in the form of a message or by using a loading symbol or image. By using a loading symbol or image. Okay. In order to represent the current status of your operation, we are using the action status tag. Now, the properties. The first property is ID property to specify the reference ID to be used to represent that status. Second property to show some message. Whenever the operation is in progress, I'm displaying some message, okay, please wait loading data. So at that time, to show that message upon performing the operation, we have to use a property called as start text. Okay, start text. So the start text property is used to indicate what is the message you want to show upon performing the operation. While performing the operation, we can show some message by using that property called as start. Okay, start text. Now, to represent the message to be visible while operation is in progress. While operation is in progress, we can show some message with the help of the start text. Now, once the operation has been done, if you want to show some message, that means I'm done with the operation, we have to use it as property called as start text. Okay, start text and then stop text. To represent the message to be visible once the operation has been done. So once the operation has been done, then what message you want to make it visible to the users? For that reason, we are using the start text property and then stop text property. So these are the properties are available as part of your action status tag. Action status tag is used to represent only the progress of your operation, just to display some progress message to the user so that the people can able to wait for some time till the page is getting loaded perfectly or till the operation has been completed. Because it may be some long running operations which might take some time. So at that time, we can inform to the people, okay, please wait for some time so that we are currently your operation is under progress. Please wait for some time so that once the operation has been done, you can able to access the data. So that to give some information, to convey some message to the users while operation is in progress, we are using this action status tag. With the help of this action status tag, we can indicate what message you want to represent, okay, what message you want to convey to the people upon your operation is in progress. Once the operation has been done, what message you would like to display to the people? For that one, we are using the property called as stop text. Now to display this message, we are going to be accessing this component from your action function or from your button controls also with the help of the ID of this action status tag. By using this action status ID tag, you can able to get that, you can invoke that action status tag, you can able to represent the messages also, depends upon your operation progress. Okay. So these are the two tags we are going to be using internally, okay, inside a single application itself. Okay. So we can able to process the records and then we can fetch the records upon performing the operation. We can show the progress with the help of the, we can accessing the action status component. Now the same status properties are available inside your normal button control also. In your button control also, we are having the status property in order to invoke that action status so that we can show the progress of your operation. Okay. Now how can we do that? Okay, now let's see practically in this case. How can we use the combination of action function and along with the action status in order to represent the status of your operation? Okay. How can we use these two tags? Now let's see with a practical example. Okay. So I have prepared already an example. I have prepared that. Okay, which is used to represent both action function and the action status tag. Now, so let me go with that feature. See, for example, I'm having a Visual Force page which is used to search for some records, okay, inside my lead object. In my lead object, I'm having so many lead records are available here. I'm having so many lead records are available because some 30 lead records are available inside the lead object. I'm having some 30 lead records are available inside the lead object. So when coming to the lead object, I'm having some first name and then last name. Based on that last name characters, I'm searching for some leads content. I'm searching for some lead records information from my object. So now whenever I'm searching the data here, we need to enter some search text. Like for example, I'm entering some AK. Okay. So once I click on this search leads, now I'm searching for the records whose last name is matching with this keyword AK. That means what? Whatever the lead records are available, whose last name is starting with the keyword from AK. So now I will like to fetch those lead records I want to represent inside my results page. Now click on this search leads. Now here I am indicating that previously it is showing that message, okay, loading data, please wait. And then once operation is done, it is indicating, okay, leads ready. For example, I'm showing for some content like some sample, okay, sample. Once I click on this search leads here, it will be showing that symbol T, the message. Okay, now search leads, it is showing that, okay, please wait, loading data. Once operation has been done, it is going to be representing that lead records are ready for you. Okay. So that means what here we are searching the information. For example, upon searching the data, we have entered the characters or click on that search list button. But sometimes I don't want to use that search button. I'm simply entering the data, request that enter button right. When you click on enter button also, it has to perform the same operations. It has to search for the data, it has to represent those records to me over here. That means what? These are common requirements the people are expecting in the application. Generally, the business people are very, very comfortable with the keyboard keys. They don't want to use that mouse much times. Okay, most of the cases, they would like to go with the shortcuts. That's what here already told you. Whenever if you want to switch from one tab to another tab, just you can use that object ID, place that object ID inside the URL. So just by placing the object ID inside the URL, directly we can jump from one object to another object also inside your Salesforce instance. Like for example, when you go to my URL, when I go to my URL, currently I'm into that account object. I want to go to that case object over here. Now tell me, do we have any cases tab on my tab bar now? No. Then how can we go to the cases tab? Just to place the ID 500. So that directly we can go to that case object tab. Suppose I want to go to the others tab, then what we should do? I want to create another tab. Do we have others tab on my tab bar now? No. Generally what we can do? If you don't know that object ID, then what we can do? We have to go to the plus symbol, click on customize my task button, add the other tab onto the tab bar, click on that tab, click on view button, then create an other tab. Suppose if you know that other object ID, then how simple it is. What is the other object ID? Other object ID. Other object. Other object. No one. 701 is for campaign. 701 is for campaign. 800, no. 801. 801 is for other. Just we can place that object ID here and we can go to the other object directly. Because here the business people will be accessing the application very fastly. Okay, very fast. See, for example, when you go to the title reservation counter, the people are going to be using always keyboard. Okay, always they will use the keyboard in order to access each and every feature. They won't use most of the times. They will keep on using the shortcut mechanisms. They will use the shortcut keys in order to access the application very, very fastly. But we can't have it like that. If you are familiar with the shortcut keys, then only we can go with this option also. Okay? Because here they need to deal with the more number of customers per day. At that time, they should be aware of the shortcut. They have to use the application very fastly. They should be comfortable with all the features, all the shortcuts, all the options. So that here, most of the time, the people are not using that most much. So that they would like to go with the shortcut mechanisms. Now, like the similar way here also, after typing some characters inside that, they don't want to click on that, the button control, they would need to go with that simply the enter button. So I'm entering some sample, press enter, then automatically it has to load the data for me. So now in this case, even though when I click on that button control, when I click on that enter button, it has to do the same operation. So at that time, we can go with the help of the action function. Along with that, we can show the progress with the help of the action status tag. By using that action status tag, we can show that action status also over there. Okay. Now, so in this case, how can we implement this functionality? Let me explain practically in this case. The code is very, very simple, nothing difficult. This search functionality code already you are aware of, nothing new. We have implemented so many times the similar kind of search. Now, let me explain that code. I'm having this user interface where the user can able to enter some starting characters of that lead last name. Based on that lead records last name characters, you can able to search for the records. User may click on search leads button or user may press enter button also. I want to perform that same operation. Okay, I want to invoke the same operation. So that I would like to use that action function. Now, so that for example, user has entered some characters here. So now based on these characters, I would like to search for the data. For that one searching mechanism we have to implement through our controller class. So that we have used a controller class with the name search leads controller. Okay. This is the controller class which I have used inside the application. Now, whatever the characters we have entered inside the text box, in order to collect these characters, I am going to be using the variable called as search text variable. Now this has been mapped. Okay, this has been mapped with the text box. That means whatever the characters we have entered inside this text box, these characters will be storing inside the search text variable so that we can able to collect the data from the user interface, and based on these input characters, we can able to initiate the search mechanism inside the database, so that I can represent the search results on the user interface. Now, based on this search text characters, I am going to be initiating the search mechanism. For that one, I am using a method. I am preparing a method with the name search lead records by last name. I have prepared a method with the name search lead records by last name. In this one here, I have written some piece of code. This is not new, already you are aware of this code here. Okay? Like as I am verifying that whether the search text is having some characters or not. I am verifying that nullifying the exception condition. If the search text value is not equals to null, if the search text value is not equals to empty, then I am going to be adding the percentage symbol because I am using the what kind of condition? Like operator, right? I'm using the like operator. That means what? What are the characters that I have entered? I'm going to be collecting the data which is similar to this condition. That means similar kind of records I'm fetching from my object. Whenever you want to fetch some similar kind of information from the object, you have to use like operator. Because I don't know the complete last name of that lead person, I know only some little bit characters. So that I'm entering only few characters here based on these characters. Whatever the matching leads are there, I would like to fetch those lead records I want to represent. So that I have entered some few characters like as AK, for example, 2 characters I have entered. After entering these 2 characters, when you click on that search leads button, whatever the lead records are there, whose last name is starting with the characters of AK, I want to fetch all those lead records I want to represent on the result first page in the table or form. So that in order to set the lead records based on the starting characters, I'm using that like operator. So that upon using the like operator, we have to use that percentage symbol. That means we have to use wildcard characters. I'm using that wildcard character, that is percentage, and then based on the characters, I'm searching for the content. Okay, I'm searching the content by using that like operator. I'm fetching the data from the lead object where last name live, that's particular searching. That data I'm storing inside my LST leads collection. This lead collection I'm going to be representing on my user first page by using the table or form. Okay, these are business logic. Nothing changed in the business logic side. Okay, no change. Now when you go to the user interface part, the initial part will be the same, no change. You are having the controller part where I'm going to be having the controller class name and the setup property, sidebar, show header, tag. These properties are common, no change. Okay. So now we are using the regular functionality only, no change. Now I'm using the section header in order to indicate the title and the subtitle of the user first page. To represent the title of the page, to represent the subtitle of the page, we are using the section header tag. And then form. I have used that form. Now, so forget about this action function. We'll come back to this one later. Now, so in order to place this page block, to specify the page block section to place the text box and button control, I'm using the page block. I'm using the page block. Now it is going to be representing the page block is set to leaves block. It is a page block that which I have implemented. What the page block is available, then inside the page block, I'm preparing the page block section, like a such leads. Now in the page block section which I have prepared, the number of columns equals to 2 because I want to place two controls. One is text box, second one is button control. So I'm giving the number of columns equals to 2. And inside this particular section, I'm placing the two controls. So this is the text control. Nothing but input text, and this is the command button. These are the two controls which I have placed inside the page block section. And then, after that, I'm representing the result in the form of a tabular format by using a separate page block. I have used the page block and I'm representing the records information inside this page block table here by using that required columns information inside the page block table. The same functionality we have added here. Okay, now let's see what additional code that I have launched. Okay, in order to show the progress of an operation, I'm using a tag called as action status. Okay, I'm using a tag called as action status tag in order to represent what is the current progress of my operation. ID equals to yes is the status. That means here when coming to my action control, to indicate that action control status, I'm using that ID property equals to yes is the status here. I'm giving the reference name. You can give any name whatever you want. Then, whenever the operation is in progress, what message you want to display? For that one, we have to use a property called as start text property. I'm indicating that please wait, okay, loading. Okay, I'm displaying this message. Whenever the operation is in progress, I want to show the message. Okay, I want to show the message to the user. Okay, please wait loading data. That means currently the operation is in progress. We are loading the data. We are fetching the record. Please wait for some time. So now we are going to be representing the message which you want to display to the user upon your operation is in progress. Once the operation has been done, what message you want to display, we can specify by using the start text property. These are the three properties are available. We are using that as part of action status. ID property, start text property, stop text property. Okay. Now, in this case here, now I would like to invoke this action status also. That means I want to display the action status. How can we represent? Okay, now let's see it practically in this code. So now let's see. As soon as whenever I'm going to be invoking that button control, or else when you go to the text box, after entering some characters inside the text box, when I press that enter button, okay, as soon as whenever I'm pressing some enter button, now let me show you. Okay, I'm pressing some enter button. It has to do that operation for me. Okay, it has to do the operation. For example, I'm entering some essay. When I press enter, it is indicating that it is fetching the data. That means what? As soon as after entering some characters, when I press the enter button, it has to search for the lead records inside my lead object here. Okay, now. So for example, it is indicating that VO. Now it is indicating that there is a record called as beta boxer. We are having that lead record is available. So now here I am indicating that. So with this one, there is no lead records are available. Okay, lead records are not available. Okay, with these characters. Let me verify what are the other leads information that we have. I'm indicating that CO. Now pattern fields. We are having a lead record is available. So now here I'm indicating that some more leads information to search for the data. I'm searching for some information, just glimpse. So like that, we can able to search for the data. That means after entering some keyboard, nothing but keyboard key, that means enter key, immediately I will like to invoke that search mechanism. So that as soon as whenever once you click on the enter button, inside my input text box, inside my input text box, I'm giving some watermark. So once the watermark is getting visible, I'm indicating the value property. That means what? Whatever the content you have specified inside the text box, this content has to be stored inside the variable so that I'm mapping that value property. Now, next one. The next property is on key down. Okay, whenever you're pressing the key, okay, on key down. That means whenever you're pressing the key. Okay. So now here in this case, we can raise a question. Sir, it may be mouse key also. Okay, it may be mouse key also. But the mouse we are having different events. Okay, mouse down, mouse up. Okay, mouse down, mouse up. Mouse events are different, keyboard events are different. Okay, and key down means what? Whenever you are pressing a key inside the keyboard. Okay, when you press the mouse key, it will be indicating that okay, on mouse down. Mouse down means what? Whenever you're pressing that mouse, okay, whenever you're pressing that mouse key, it is called as on mouse down. Whenever you're releasing the mouse button, it is called as a mouse up. Okay, mouse events are different, keyboard events are different. Okay, so now we are having the on key down. Okay, on key down. That means what? Whenever the key has been down, key has been pressed. What key? I am verifying that. If event dart, that means the current event, that means the key has been pressed. So in that particular event, what is the key code? That means I'm collecting the ASCII code of that character. What are the key that you have pressed? I'm collecting the ASCII code of the key. If this event, nothing but the current event is what? On key down. That means it has been pressed that key. If the key's ASCII code is equals to the key, that means it is enter button. Okay, if it is an enter button, I'm indicating that I'm black. That means here, now please come out from this particular text bar. That means here the cursor has to be losing from this control. Cursor is losing from that control, and then please initiate a method over here. What is that method name? Set to lead records by last name. I want to invoke a method with the name set to lead records by last name. So this is the method which I would like to invoke over here. Now in this case I'm indicating. This is the method that we have prepared. Set lead records by last name. So the method will be getting invoked automatically. Whenever the method has been getting invoked, the method is collecting the such a text data which is available inside the variable. Based on that, it is collecting the data. It will be representing the results in the form of a tabular format. Okay. Clear? So now as soon as whenever I'm pressing the enter button inside my text box, after pressing that enter button, I'm verifying that currently press the key code. Suppose for example, if I'm pressing any other keys, okay, that key code after I'm collecting that if it is not equal to the team, I don't want to perform any other operations. If it is equal to the team, then only I want to perform because the user has pressed the enter button. That means he would like to initiate that action to set the lead record from the lead object based on the input text which has entered. So that can I verify that. Okay, on key down event. Okay, you will be having the various events will be available to you over here. Now, so when you go to the input text, you will be having so many properties will be available to you. Let me show you that. So let me go to the component reference. Here let's see the input text tag. Okay, input text tag. When you go to the input text tag, you will be having so many properties. You will be having so many properties and some events also. Let's see. And blur. Whenever the control is losing the focus. And change. Whenever you're changing the values. And click. Whenever you're clicking by using that mouse button here. Now on double click. When you double click on that one. And focus. Whenever the control is getting the focus. Whenever the cursor is moving into that control. And then on key down. Whenever you are going to pressing any keyboard key. Now it is indicating if the JavaScript invoke if the on key down event. That is if the user presses a keyboard key. Whenever the keyboard key has been pressed, I would like to invoke that. So I would like to collect that keyboard key as key code. If the key code is equals to the team, then I would like to initiate some actions over here. Okay. Now in this case, RP press, that means that is if the user presses or holds down a keyboard key. That means here simply the user has pressed that. He is not able to release that key here. Still he is pressing status over here. And key up whenever you are going to release the key from the keyboard. And mouse down whenever you are pressing that mouse. Whenever you are mouse move, that means the mouse is available on that particular control. Mouse out, that means whenever the mouse is outside of the control. Mouse over, that means on the mouse is on that particular control. Mouse up, whenever you are releasing the mouse button. These are the various events are available. Mouse events are different, keyboard events are different to you. Okay, so that you can differentiate that. If it is the mouse event, you will be starting with that. Okay, mouse out, mouse move, mouse down, mouse up, mouse over, like that. We can able to use this. Okay, we can use these events. Now in this case, what happened whenever the user has been pressed some button control? What is the button? Enter button. I want to verify that. Okay, I want to verify the currently press the keyboard button key is what? I want to press the ASCII code value. For that one, I'm using the event. That means the current event. That means if the key has been pressed. So in that event, what is the key the user has pressed? I want to collect that key code. I would like to get the key code. If the key code is equals to the T, if it is an enter button, please lose that control focus and please invoke this action method here. Okay, just to leave this control, go to that action method, please invoke this action method. So I want to search for the lead record, those lead records we can able to represent inside the result first page. So that here we are using that, okay, on key down event when coming to my input text box. Okay, next one. When the user click on this button control also, I want to represent that, I want to set for the same record. For that one, I'm using that. Client set invocation. I'm not using that action, but action method over here. I'm not using action method, I'm indicating client side invocation that is called as on click. Okay, on click is nothing but the client side invocation. Action property I'm not using here. Generally, action property is for the server side invocation, but now I'm going to be working from the client side. Okay, so that here we are using that event called as on click event. On click, whenever once you click on that, please start search leads. What is this search leads basically over here? Search leads is nothing but my action function. So I have prepared the action function tag. For this action function tag, I have given that name as search leads. I have defined it as global. Inside the font tag, I have defined action function. For this action function, I'm giving the name as search leads. That means which is going to be invoking an action method that is called as search lead records by last name. And then which is going to be rendering the page block and which is going to be refreshing, which will be displaying the current status of your progress operations. So now in this case here, status. Status means what? Action control, nothing but action starts. So status control, status I'm indicating. This is the idea of the action status tag which you have implemented in order to represent a message to be get visible, okay, upon loading the operation and upon performing that operation. That means once the operation is getting done, I want to show some different message. For that one, I'm invoking that action status tag, which is going to be displaying the status of the current operation progress. Now, so that means what, as soon as once I click on the button control, I'm not using that action tag to invoke that controller action method directly. I'm going to be calling the action function. This action function we can able to call from the multiple control also whatever you want. So now here I'm calling the search lead. That means here the search leads action function. We're calling that function return that file. That means please go to that respective page to refresh that component. And along with the I'm displaying the status message also by using that action status. Okay, so that instead of using the server side invocations, you can go with the client side invocations here. But that one we are using on click, okay, on key down, on key press, on mouse up, and then on mouse down. These are all nothing but the client side event, not in the server side events. Okay, these are the server side events, the new client side event from the JavaScript. Okay, so that here I'm not invoking the action method, action property. In order to invoke the control action methods, for that one I'm using that client side invocation by using that on click. Okay, clear? Now, just we did two changes here, nothing different. Now inside the text box, this simply I have added one property on key down. That means if the currently pressing keyboard key values equals to the team, I'm going to just losing the focus of the control. That means just to leave the control as it is, go to that action method, please invoke that action method to perform the operation. For that reason, here I am going to be indicating on blur. That means whenever the control is losing the focus, that means please lose the focus of the control. Just leave the control as it is, come out from the control, please invoke this action method, okay, so that we can perform the operation, we can show the result on the user interface. Okay? Clear? Now, after that, as soon as once you click on the button control, I'm going to be using that, I'm calling an action function. Now, whenever I'm calling the action function based on the name, this action function internally invokes the method which will be collecting the data, it will be refreshing the page block, it will be refreshing your action status also, so that we can represent your status messages also. That facility is available. Okay? Clear? Now, in some cases, you can raise a question. So for example, right now we are showing the message, okay, like as, okay, loading data or leads, okay, leads ready. For example, I'm setting some information, like as some sample. When you press enter, it is indicating that message, okay, loading data, okay, leads ready. Instead of doing this one, do we have any facility to show the message like this? Do we have any facility to show the message like this? Now, currently I'm able to see the first 10 records. When you click on next button, next 10 records you can see. That means it is showing that loading symbol. Okay, loading symbol. If you want to show this kind of loading symbol, then also we can able to represent. That facility is available. Okay. Now, for example, let me show you that. Now, let's. So in this case, we can able to use a tag called as preset tag. By using that preset tag, we can able to place a panel control, nothing but we can able to reserve some space. We can able to show that loading symbol also. The facility is available. Okay, like for example, in this case, instead of using that normal action status, okay, I'm going to be commenting this one. We can show that action status also. Apex action status. I'm indicating that ID equals to ASLC status. Okay, ASLC status. And then we can specify that. Apex facet tag, which is used to reserve some space on your browser and indicating the name equals to some start. Here I would like to show the message. Inside the center part of the page, I would like to show that message. I want to show the image. Yes, that's equals to Salesforce has given a standard image that is loading dot. Okay. Loading dot. Salesforce has given a standard image that is called as loading dot chip. This is the loading image here. Whatever the loading image we are able to see right now, this is nothing but the loading dot chip. This is the standard image which has been given the sales. So we can able to use that loading dot chip image also inside. Instead of using that normal action status, simply the message we can use that image also. That means the symbol also we can able to represent depends upon your requirement. Like for example, when you go to the sample, I'm entering some characters. Images. Let's see. There is an image symbol is available to you. You can use the image symbol also in order to represent the content. Let's see the content. So now getting this things. The image symbol is simply the image name is it's a small letter, okay, small L. So we can able to specify that. Instead of representing, the normal text message, we can able to show some images also inside your Salesforce instance. Like for example, I'm searching for some content. Okay, we go. When you press enter, we can able to see that information. Data will be getting loaded perfectly. And then I'm entering some sample. Once you click on that, it is giving that loading symbol to you. Along with that loading symbol, we can able to show that representations also. So no need to show your normal text messages upon performing the operation. We can show that loading symbols also inside your application. Okay. If you are having some large number of records, then at that time we can able to show this kind of messages also. Okay, so that the people can wait for some time. For example, I'm having very less number of data, let us AK. When I click on that such a list, it is showing that message to you directly. That means it won't take much time. Whenever if I'm having a large number of records, you can able to see that image also here. Now it will be showing that loading image to you over here. Such a list, it is showing that loading image, it will be indicating that message to you. Along with that, if you want to store that message also, then you can specify. We can show some message also inside. I'm searching for some characters. It will be indicating load. Okay, loading. Please wait. We can specify. Okay, loading data. Okay. Please wait. Loading. I want to show this message along with that image. I'm indicating that some sample characters. As soon as once you click on the set leads, it has to display the message here. Okay, please wait loading data, and then it will be representing your content. So that whenever you want to show some status or progress of your operations, then we can use this kind of loading symbols also inside our applications. We can use either the image also, either we can use that normal starting message also, depends upon your requirement. Okay. This is the way we have to use, okay, the action function and then action status. Action status tag is simply used to represent, okay, to represent the current progress of your operation. Whatever the request you have initiated, in order to see that progress of your current operation, we are using that action status tag. That's it. Okay, it won't do any operation inside that, simply to represent the progress. Okay, clear? Whenever if we got the requirement to implement like this kind of images, then we can able to use that facet tag. That means inside the action status, I'm using the facet tag. Preset tag is nothing but a placeholder. In order to represent that the loading image on the user interface and reserving some space. To reserve some space, we are using that preset tag. It's like as a panel holder. And then I'm giving the name as start. And then I would like to display. Whenever the space has been reserved, in that space I want to store this loading image at the center point. So that I'm using that center tag. In that center tag, I'm displaying that image. So we get the loading image which has been given by Salesforce. I'm representing that loading image. Along with that, I'm showing some message. Please wait, loading data. Which I'm representing the information to the people. So that whenever your operation is in progress, you can see that result part as well. Okay? Clear? Okay. So now here in this case, whenever the user has entered some characters inside the text box, after entering some characters, when you press the enter button to search for the data, I don't want to use that mouse pointer. I want to press the enter button. Upon click on the enter button, also I want to do the same searching mechanism. For example, when you go to the Google, you will be having a search text box here. After typing some information, okay, Apex programming, okay, Apex programming. After typing the information, we can click on Google search button also. That means the search button is there. Or you can press the enter button also. Upon click on enter button also, you have to do the same thing. Usually now, tell me how many people will click on that button control by using mouse? Very few people, right? Okay. Very rare people will click on the button control by using mouse. Okay. Usually we are going to be rendering some data, press the enter button because we are familiar with this kind of implementation. So that here also sometimes the user wants to search the data, even though when you click on that search button, even though when you click on that enter button also. So that once you click on that search button, we can initiate that search mechanism manually. But when you click on that enter button, how can we handle it? Okay. So now in this case, because when coming to the text box, it is not having the action property directly. So that here we are going to be using the client side events. So we are using an event called as on key down. That means here, upon entering some characters inside the text box, when you are pressing any key, it will be counting that. It is collecting the pressed keys ASCII code. If this key's ASCII code value is equals to 13, then please leave this control. Okay, please leave this control, go to the controller action, and then please invoke this method. Okay, invoke this method in order to initiate the search mechanism based on the characters which the user has entered inside this. So that I'm using the on key down event here. Okay. Is action dynamic invocation. Upon pressing the key button, okay, upon pressing the key button, dynamically we need to invoke that action. Dynamic is an event. Okay. Now, so after that, as soon as once you click on the button control also, I'm not using that normal action method, action property, I'm using that client side event that is called as conflict. Upon click on the button control from the client side, I'm going to be initiating the action function, which will be calling that method, which will be performing the operation to return that results. Okay. So from the client side also we can able to invoke the action methods as well by using action function. Now, in this case here, once this operation has been done, then please come out from this control. Okay, please re-render this particular part of this control. Okay.
Sir, what is written
Okay. Once the operation has been done, that means once the action function has been invoked, then please return come back. Nothing but return false means here, don't stay in that same particular control, please refresh this particular part. If I'm not using return false, it will be indicating that same page over there. That means result will not be visible to you directly. Okay, we can able to just return that false. That means here, please don't stay in that executing that function. Please represent this particular part and then refresh this part of this page. For that one, we are using return false. Okay, understood the concept here? How can we invoke from client side? So let me clear this use case. Okay. Done? By end of the code, your phone memory will be full. Okay. Next one, action region tag. Generally, nobody will use this action region, very rare cases. Okay. I will be giving the theoretical information about this. Okay. then how can we use this one and what exactly the properties we see? Now, next one, the action region tab. So what exactly the action region tab and how can we use this action region tab? What are the properties are available? Okay, now let's see. Okay. Region in the sense what? Generally, I'm having a page, I'm having a region. What do you mean by generally a region? Some specific, that means some part. Okay, some part. It's a part of the page. It's a specific component also. Okay. Now in this case, whenever I'm going to be initiating any request, okay, whenever I'm initiating this any request, then the whole page will be sending as a request to that Salesforce server. For example, assume that assume that I'm having my account object. I'm trying to create a new account record inside my object. So I have entered some data, okay, inside my text boxes here. After entering some data, as soon as once you click on the save button, this entire page information will be collecting by the Salesforce server. It will be sending the request. Okay, it will be collecting the whole page request. It will be sending to the Salesforce server. Server will be receiving the complete page code. It will be processing. Okay, it will collect the complete page code. It will start processing that. Once the processing has been done, it will be sending the response back. That means what? Even though if I'm going to be representing only this part, because here in this particular part, I'm not doing any change. I haven't modified anything. I'm not doing any changes in this place. Just I'm going to be passing the data from this particular user interface. So please don't process the whole page which has been sent from my client browser. Please collect the data from this particular user interface only, from this particular page block only. So what are the page block information that was specified? That means inside my page block, I have placed slowly control. In this controls, I have specified some data. Please collect only this particular page block data and please process it. Don't consider this particular remaining part of my user first page. In my application, it is having the header part is available, but I don't want to process this header part. I'm not making any changes in the header part. I want the header part as it is. Just to please consider, please process only this particular part of that page request. So in this case, instead of processing the complete page request, we can inform to the Salesforce server, please don't process the complete page request. Please ignore this complete part, just this particular page block code. Please collect that from the request. Please process only this particular page block request. Don't consider the remaining. That means what? I don't find I'm going to be indicating the Salesforce server. Please don't consider the entire page code as a request to process it. Please process only some part because you are not changing anything in the entire application side. Only few features I'm changing. Only some part I'm changing. So that please process only that particular part. Okay, please process only that particular part. Don't process the whole page. Okay, please process only that particular part which have made the changes. So in this case, whenever if you want to inform to the Salesforce server, please don't process the whole page. Please process only some specific part of the page request. Okay, so this is the small part which I'm making the changes. For example, here. Now tell me here in this case, I'm going to be creating a new account record. How can we create a new account record? In this case, you will be having that option. Okay. When you go to the accounts tab, you will be having the option server. Now, quick create. You can create the account record directly. So now in this case, account name I'm giving like a sample, phone number I'm entering this sample. Website I'm indicating like a account G. Once I click on that save button, observe this one. So now here it is indicating that record information will be getting disabled. But record is created or not now. In this case, do I need to process this whole page by Salesforce server? No, because here I haven't used all these features, just I have used only this particular small feature. So I need to inform to the Salesforce server, please don't process this whole page because if it is processing this whole page, it will take more time. But I haven't used all the features of this user interface. I have used only some small feature that is called as the quick create option inside my sidebar. So please process only this particular part of that page request so that we can able to take very less time to process it so that we can able to improve the application performance also. So in this case, in order to indicate what part of your page has to be get refreshed, what part of your page has to be get processed by the Salesforce server, we can indicate with the help of a component called as action region component. By using this action region component, region means what? A part. It's a component. It's a part of a page. So that we can inform to the Salesforce server, please don't process the complete page as a request. Please collect only this action region. Please take only this particular region. This is the part which I made some changes. Please process only this particular part. So that we can reduce the time, we can able to improve the application performance also. For that reason here we are using that action region tag. What are the components we are placing inside this action region tag? Only those tags will be getting processed by Salesforce server. Outside of this action region, what are the components you have placed, those components will not be getting processed by Salesforce server. What are the components are there within that action region tag? Only those tags will be getting processed. Only that part, only that components will be getting processed by Salesforce server. So that in order to indicate that don't process the complete page request, please process only this part of this request so that we can indicate that part with the help of a region that is called as action region tag. Okay, clear? Now make it out over. That means here, previously what we did, instead of refreshing the whole page, we are refreshing only some specific part of the page. But now what I am doing, I am going to inform to the Salesforce server, please don't process. Okay, please don't process this complete page as a request. Please process only this small part. Because I'm making the changes in this part only, please process only this part of that page so that we can reduce that processing time so that we can improve the application performance also. So that here we are using that help of action region tag. What are the components you are placing inside this action region? Only that particular tag will be getting processed. Okay. Now let's see. This tag is used to prepare a user interface. Prepare a user interface component which can be processed by the Salesforce server. That is, upon making a request to the Salesforce server, it will process the complete page. It will process the complete page. It processes the complete page, which is a time-consuming process, which is a time-consuming process. Instead of processing the complete page, we can indicate to Salesforce server to process the specified part of the page by using action region. By using action region control. Action region control. Only the components placed inside the action region block will be getting processed by Salesforce server. So that we can reduce the burden on the server and we can reduce the processing time and hence we can improve the application performance. Hence we can improve the application performance. Action region ID equals to ACC region. Inside that, we can specify that. What components used to be get reduced? We can specify the components to be get processed. What components to be get processed by the Salesforce server? We can indicate with the help of that action region.
So what is the difference between the re-render and action region?
Now, re-render is nothing but only to refresh this part, okay, within our side. But here, this action region is for Salesforce server side. That means don't process the complete page request. Please process only that particular part. Okay. In the response, once you got the response, instead of loading that same page again here freshly, we are indicating please refresh this particular part. Okay. Re-rendering is nothing but from our side, from the client side. Now that action region is nothing but from the server side. Okay. So these are the 5 action controls are available as part of your user first page, which are having the AJAX functionalities in.